Hi, everyone. Welcome to my monthly Unapologetic Woman Hour. I'm really excited to dive deep into the conversation that we're having this month all around style. So for many of you, you know that this year, since the start of the year, I've been getting involved with amazing other women that are up to big things, talking about what it means to be unapologetic. And this is something that is near and dear to my heart, as I have found through the work that I do, as well as working with clients and even being a participant in other trainings or other programs, is that when we can feel safe in the environment we are in to fully express ourselves, that we not only tap into our authentic power, we give the other people in our life the same permission. And that was my goal of starting the Unapologetic Woman Hour, was exactly that, is giving other people new insights on how they can have more permission to live and be themselves. Now, I'm excited to have the conversation with Melanie today. We've known each other for quite a while. We met way back in college. And I'm just checking in to see if she is hopping on, make sure she doesn't have any questions for me. So we're just awaiting the beautiful Melanie to join us live. And we are going to really tap into style today. Melanie is, as I call her, an expert in this realm, in this category, as you might call it, of style. I always used to laugh with her when we hung out, is that, I only have like a couple sets of earrings, and that's about where my style is. And Melanie has a really great way of showing people how to express themselves through style in a way that's empowering. And I think that's truly phenomenal. So as I go on a deeper level, right, of helping people on this, more of this emotional level, how to verbally express themselves, Melanie can share some things about how to express yourself through the clothes you wear, through the items that you add on. And so I think it's going to be a really great conversation to bring all the work that I do, which can be a little bit more of the internal work, and her bringing the external of the style you have externally, how they can mold together. And I see her on, so I'm going to bring Melanie on, and we're going to get this conversation going.
Hi,
Hello.
Trace.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have this call. I was just sharing my tribe, how we got to that point where we've known each other for a long time, I guess, right? We've hit that level of adulthood where we can say that. So
I think so. I think so.
But that I'm really excited to have this conversation to bring to the plate just another level of what it means to be unapologetic. And as we're having this conversation, before I introduce Melanie and have her share about hers, that's the other thing, right? She's sharing about herself. Share the video, share with other people that you might know could really benefit from this. Because a lot of times that one little thing we say to our friends or share with somebody could be the catalyst for them to just be more of themselves. And we all deserve to be more of ourselves and have that reciprocated back. So share, comment. If you're listening to the recording of this, Melanie and I will be able to hear the comments, see the comments, sorry, and be able to comment back. So make sure you tag us. I'm going to add Melanie to the top of the description, so that if you have questions for us, let's keep the conversation going even after the live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Melanie, share with my tribe a little bit about yourself and why you got into what you're doing, and what does being unapologetically expressive in style mean to you?
Okay. Well, first, thanks for having me, Trace. I'm Melanie Kruger. So I'm a personal stylist. I like to call myself a confidence booster. And I like to say also your new best friend. That's like because I feel like personal stylist doesn't like fully encapsulate what I do. I also am a best-selling author of a book called The Confident Closet. But way back when I first met Tracy, I was in school to be a costume designer. And that's really where my sort of journey started, where I was noticing that so many people, didn't matter what they looked like. It was like people were I ended up working on Broadway and Broadway tours, and like, it didn't matter who it was like people were insecure about their bodies all over the place for all different reasons. Everyone had their things. And I also noticed as a costume designer that when people felt good in their clothes and felt confident and felt aligned with what they were wearing, how differently they were able to show up in the world. And so after I decided to not be a costume designer anymore, I worked with brides for a while, finding their wedding dress. And it was the same thing. Like, everyone just has like those things that they're noticing instead of noticing the overall picture. And so my work really started then to say, how can I make people feel really confident in really confident in themselves so that they can show up, and how can their clothes be like a vehicle to sort of help them feel like they're the best version of themselves. And then I started going into people's closets and created the book and my online course, which is also called The Confident Closet, just to help people. It's a 6-week long process, and we go into your closet. We make sure all of your clothes are like really representing you. And to me, being unapologetically yourself means that like it doesn't matter what someone else says you should be wearing. It doesn't matter if you used to love that piece of clothing or if your mother-in-law gave it to you. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't feel aligned with it. So to me, the thing that really makes me feel unapologetically me is like just trusting my instinct on like, if I feel good in it, if I feel aligned in it, then I should be showing up inside and outside as myself. And I think that I like to think of clothes as a way to like say, hey, this is me and I'm happy to meet you, you know, unapologetically yourself.
I love that. Yeah, and it's interesting you say across the gamut of seeing this thing about people not feeling comfortable in their bodies, whether they were Broadway actors or brides or just,
It really has been
a
everybody.
woman having just a regular old job and trying to put
Mm-hmm.
on clothes in the morning.
Totally.
It
And
goes across the board.
across the board, like, it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, you know, it's really just about how you feel about yourself, you know. And so how can we, so I'm always like, okay, how can we make people feel like just themselves, you know, and feel good about themselves.
I love that. So what gets you really revved up and excited about the work that you're doing currently? I know that you've had your journey of, call it style, but what's something that you are really excited about now that you get to do with people in the realm of, as we're talking about today, this expression and things that you might have seen with clients that just, it's that as a, you're a style, you're working in the realm of style and in confidence, and I'm working in the realm of coaching. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when I hear a client or I hear somebody say something or show up in a certain way, I'm like, oh yeah. It gets me
Yeah.
so revved up and excited that they're stepping into more of themselves, really. But is there
Totally.
anything that you've noticed or that's lighting you up right now that you're seeing with the people you're working with?
You know what? It's like, I think um that's exactly what it is. It like excites me, and it like jazzes. I get so excited when I see someone really feel like I got a message the other day about someone who said something that I said made her wear a bathing suit and go, and her daughter said she somehow had like a mermaid bathing suit in her closet that she hadn't worn, and her daughter found it, and she said, I
Oh,
thought, what would Melanie say? Melanie would say to wear the mermaid bathing suit and go out to the beach with my kids. So that's what she did. And that kind of is like, you can kind of notice like, oh, like our words about this kind of stuff matters, you know. And it makes people feel like, oh, what Melanie isn't with me in my closet right now, what would she say? She would say, you know what, do you feel good in it, then wear it, you know, that kind of feeling. So in my course right now, we're in week 5, so we're in the week of organization, and we just purged our closets. And that is such a freeing thing too, to not have all this stuff in your closet that you have for sentimental reasons because you used to be that size, like all these reasons that we hold on to clothes that have nothing to do with whether or not we like our clothes. It's like they're in our closets for all these different reasons. So to like release all of that gets me really excited for people.
I love it. So you're like a feng shui stylist too, getting
I
that
know.
energy,
Yeah, but the
getting
energy,
that
really, for
energy.
sure, for sure. I mean, I never thought about it like that, but I like it. I kind of like to think of myself as like a way more relatable Marie Kondo.
I love that.
Or,
And
you know, she does more than just closet. She does a lot of
Oh
like
yeah,
books and all the other stuff. But
I love it. Well, people have started to coin me here, and because I'm running a lot of events now, Lucille Ball meets the Dalai Lama. So I think we all have our our identity of
I
a
love
coach or
that.
a stylist or something. Yeah, so I've been rolling with that. I'm like, ooh, this is fun.
You are kind of a mixture of those things.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to point out something Liz mentioned about the exterior. She said, I think we have things like Tinkerbell and Jessica Rabbit to thank for that, where it's like people see this exterior of what you should look like or what you should be. And that
Mm,
I think it was a really great indicator of that, because in modern culture, it's showing us certain things of where we feel like we should be. And for so many people, all they want is to feel like they belong and that they matter
yeah,
and they're worthy. And that sometimes these blanket expressions that society is throwing on us can get people way off track. So
totally. It's
that might
about
be a
so much
question for
more.
you.
Yeah, I mean, it's about so much more than clothes. It's about like body image, right? Like Jessica Rabbit. And that's like an ideal body image and it's a cartoon, right? And it's like not even a real person. And that this is the kind of stuff that we kind of don't even realize that we're sort of being infiltrated by. And so I mean, body image is something that really comes into play a lot with what I do because how so often we go to get dressed in our closets and like we we're not even looking at the clothes. We're not even like asking ourselves, how do I feel in it? We're only asking, is this flattering? Is this not flattering? And that
Yes.
is something that I'm always like trying to, yes, if you want to feel good in something, if you don't feel good in it, okay, take it off. But are you asking yourself, do I like it? Do I like the color? Do I feel good in it? Is it comfortable? Or are you just saying, is it flattering? And so that's why sometimes something could be flattering, but still not our style.
I like that. And that brings up something that I talk to a lot with my clients when we're doing, you know, we might be doing some of the deeper, heavier work, a lot of the forgiveness work, emotional trauma
Mm-hmm.
work. There's a container that needs to be set up for this to, the process to
Mm-hmm.
occur with the most ease and efficiency. Meaning, we got to get you in a safe space. You can't be trying to do this work when you've got distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you and I need to have a one-on-one date, or do you need to come to this retreat? What do you need to set up in your schedule and in your environment to allow the process of this work to occur? And then there are steps that we go through, but there is that level of freedom to just be who they are in the midst of those steps. So what I'm hearing from you is that there's a container of, right, you can be a size, I'm just throwing out a number, a
Yeah.
size 8, and constantly be wearing a size 4. It doesn't feel comfortable. And if you would have just wore like a different lined, I heard this from a stylist here in Orlando, like a straight line skirt versus like one of those other skirts.
Like pencil
The
or
minute,
A-line.
yes, and the minute the woman started purchasing the other version of the
Mm-hmm.
skirt, that container of it fitting a little bit more for her body type, then she was able to have those other conversations of, oh, I like these colors. This makes me
Mm.
feel good about myself. And it was hard for her to feel good about herself in that design of a skirt. And it was so easy as a shift in mindset of, wow, that's design of a skirt just fits better for my body. And then I get the choices of color, expression, feeling good. And then
Yeah.
it can be an easy shift too.
Well, I think so often. So the conversation in the dressing room that gets us frustrated. Like some people hate shopping, and part of the reason is because you see a mannequin or you see something on a hanger, and you're like, I love this. Like so, for that woman's case, she liked the idea of a pencil skirt, right? So then she went into the closet or into the dressing room, and she was putting on the skirt, and she never felt good in it. And it instead of saying, this wasn't meant for me. I am not the fit model for this skirt. This is not, it's like, well, if my hips were different or if I felt different in this way, instead of just saying, okay, I like the pattern. What do I like about this skirt? I like that it's structured, or I like the pattern, or I like, the flowy nature of it. And then finding something that does work for her shape so that then she can have the feeling that that skirt was giving her, but like for a skirt that actually works for her body.
Yeah, that's for me, a big like. That's a aha.
An emoji, a thumbs up.
Yeah. What is it, like
Right?
or love?
Right.
Yeah, and that's not something we're taught.
No.
I
The
was
other
having this
thing,
conversation with a
oh,
money coach where we're not
yes,
taught about some of these things when we're younger, right? We're not taught about money and budgeting when we're going through schooling. And these are things I don't think we're taught about as young people. We're
totally. And
not,
that, especially with sizing. So what I was going to say is, so there's no standardized sizing
oh
in the
no.
US. So in one store, you may be an 8, and in the same store, you may be a 6, and in the next store, you could be a 12. And it means nothing about your body. It just means that this store has decided that they think you're going to feel better in this if we say it's a size 6 or whatever. Their fit models, they've decided things, but it has not. So especially older generations, but really everybody says, like, I am a size 8. That's my size. And then they go into a store and they're not a size 8 and they're like, what does that mean about me? What if I buy this size up? And talk about being unapologetic. It's a number on a piece of fabric that doesn't mean anything about you unless you let it, you know?
Yeah. It's a
The
number on
sizing
a piece
thing.
of fabric. Ladies, that should be like that should be on the background of your phones before you go shopping.
I
It's
know.
just a number on a piece of fabric.
And you can use it as a guideline if you're trying to try things on. But I think we put so much weight on, like, this has to look good on me, or this is my size. And really the freedom of just going in and trying things on and seeing what works will make you feel more aligned.
I like that. That's a lot more empowering for
Totally.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a new way of learning. I find, especially in with clothing, because everything isn't the same size.
Mm-hmm.
We were almost taught that like this is our size, and a lot of it might have just been unconscious,
Mm-hmm.
unconscious teachings or unconscious thinkings, but
Yeah.
it is ultimately just that. The same thing with weight. With people, when they look at weight, it's just a number on an actual scale that's literally just scientifically measuring the pressure that is getting put on the scale.
I
It's what you're
know. It's
saying,
the
the
weight that we
meaning you
put
make
on the
about it.
weight. Yeah.
It's the weight we put on weight. Yeah, it's the meaning you're making about it. And being self-expressed and being who you are is always about the meaning we're putting on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when this is what I want to ask you, like, so for me, I've had conversations with you because I was always like, no, it's making a joke for you. I'm like, I remember joking with Melanie that I'm like, I only have 2 pairs of earrings. Ha ha. I don't like necklaces. And I always felt growing up that I saw some other people. I was like, oh, they're so great. They have so much style and all of this. And I finally had to realize it took me going through my own personal work, the personal development work, to realize exactly what you're saying. The clothing I'm putting on, the way that everything from my glasses to my hair is an expression of just me being me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I feel more comfortable, it's interesting. I wore out I didn't want to change. It was a Saturday night. So I was like, oh, maybe I should put on heels or a fancy dress. And I was like, you know what? I'm comfortable in this outfit.
Yeah.
It's still hot in Florida. It was just a plain cotton purple dress, like
Yeah.
plain. I put on these new glasses that I got that I love, and like just a cute pair of earrings. And I got so many comments about how good I looked. And it was because of the person I was being behind the clothes.
You
And the
felt
clothes
comfortable
were
and confident.
enhancing that.
Mm-hmm.
I did. And it's so interesting. I was like, I had like 5 or 6 comments when I was questioning whether I should put on something more Saturday night looking.
Right.
I don't know what that means,
But
but
that's like some idea. I think probably starts in college, where it's like you have to wear this to go out, right?
yeah.
But I had a date the other night and I was like, I think I'm just gonna like really dress up a t-shirt. Like, I wanted to just be casual, but I still wanted to feel like put together. So like for me, I feel really confident when like I feel like my outfit is like complete, right? So that's like, there's like little things that you can do to say like for you, like, okay, what is gonna make me feel my most confident? Is it something that I can really move in? Or is it like heels? Like for some people, for me, I don't always feel that confident in heels. I do if I'm like speaking, like doing a
Yes.
work thing, but because I like feel like I stand differently. But normally, if I'm like going out to meet people, I could feel just as confident, if not more, in like a pair of really cool flat shoes. So it's like everyone's idea is different for them, you know?
I
Opposed to
like that.
assuming like Saturday night outfit, what does that mean to you, right?
Yes, we did. So Liz asked, how do you know what is truly your own personal style and what we as women have been taught to think we should or should not wear? Like, how do you start the
Okay.
journey of figuring out your own personal style?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to get those comments away, but I think it's okay. So yeah, so I actually have a process that it's a free gift on my site. So I don't know, Tracy, if we can add the link to it, but
Yeah,
it's
so what we'll do at the end,
yeah.
I'll have you in the comments add
Mm-hmm.
that, and then
Great.
I'll make sure that it's also in the title of it so everybody can access it.
Perfect. So essentially what it's like a three-part video series, but what I talk about is um so if we talk about style words, right? Like first you have to like really get to know what you like and what you enjoy. So we get
Yeah.
inspiration. I think so often what Liz is saying is like we think that our inspiration should come from other people, right? Like in this day and age with social media, everyone's just looking at
Yeah.
other people and they're like, well, this is trendy or this is this, but you can get inspiration anywhere. I
Yeah.
still feel inspired by Kelly Kapowski. I don't know why that is still like an inspiration. Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell. So, but
Yeah, I
so
wanted you to preference because some people might not know.
I mean, in my world, who doesn't know who Kelly Kapowski is? But you know what I'm saying. So essentially, like we are inspired by different things, but like
Yeah.
nature could inspire you. You could be inspired by colors. Like a lot of people have like fall inspired colors, and they feel really inspired by that. So I have like a sort of a process, but really, essentially, like if you can sort of find inspiration, I use Pinterest, but people can use whatever they want to sort of hone in and see, like, okay, well, what am I gravitating towards right now? And if you are liking things on Pinterest and you're kind of creating a board, you're like, wow, turns out I love stripes, you know, things that you didn't even really realize. Or you're like, I didn't know that it looks like I'm gravitating towards sort of like an edgier look than maybe I'm wearing, right? And then I think I like to say pick 4 to 6 style words because that kind of gives us a broader spectrum, right? So this is how I like to create a like really align personal style. It's by kind of getting all this inspiration. And I call it my personal style roadmap. And there's all these questions that you kind of ask yourself. But essentially, I like style words because it means you can be more than one thing, right? So, and I like them to be really descriptive. So like comfortable is fine, but like what about like luxurious, right? Like the difference between that and what that means for you. Maybe comfortable is not luxurious. Maybe your word is cozy, right? So thinking about how can we get really specific with those words? Because you can be cozy and, you know, rocker and, you know, a whole bunch of different things. And then that's kind of, you ask yourself when you're trying things on, is this in my style words? Is this in my inspiration? And I also say you can have some icons too, as long as you don't like replicate. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I realize I'm already doing that, and I didn't realize I was doing that.
There you go.
Because so with, my background of just doing body work, yoga, I'm leading events, but most of my events are like meditation and just having this safe, quiet, comfortable space it's just not as functional for me to have a dress or a skirt on. And so when like fun leggings came into being a thing, I was so excited. Like
I
I
know.
am I love fun pants. And for me, like it's weird, but like expressing myself from the waist down is
Interesting.
more, it works more for me. And I think
Yeah.
it's because doing yoga or doing massage, like having like jewelry, having scarves, having things like it's in my way. And that it was like a functional thing for me in so many ways that like when I could start to express myself from the waist down, like more fun pants and like a really cool pair of like flats, that I was able to facilitate be who I was in that moment, and then
The
still
patterns
be
really helped you.
patterns, so still being self-expressed. But when I have patterns from the waist up, it's not the same, and it's
Hmm.
very interesting. And I only realized that when I started testing it out
Yeah.
by
Trying
by
it on.
really getting curious
Yes.
versus judgmental. When I put on clothes or tried on clothes, it was, how can I be more curious here than have a judgment about the clothes I'm
But I
wearing?
love that because I think sometimes we are nervous to experiment with our clothes. And so, like for you, you had to try it out and you're like, you know what? I actually feel like if there's too much going on because you're using your hands, you're massaging, you're doing all these different things. And like for you, it feels like too much up top, right? Or for whatever reason. And so for you, you found a lot of freedom and fun in different color leggings. And I like that because a lot of times with more athleisure or active wear or whatever you want to say, people they don't always think of that as also being a way that they can have style, you know? And I like,
And
and
I can
I,
dress it up or dress it down.
yeah,
But it worked for me. And I think
yeah.
it's that realm of me always stepping up as the leader of being self-expressed,
Mm-hmm.
that those leggings can be the container for me to then, where do I want it? So even when I presented on stage, I had a really like hot pair of heels on, and I had a really nice looking shirt, and even put some higher end jewelry on while I was speaking on stage with those same pants that I also led yoga in the
Right.
week before.
Well, so you're also doing one of my other favorite things to suggest,
Oh, yay.
which is that your clothes, like I like to say, you should be able to wear each thing in your closet 3 ways. Because we
Ooh,
sometimes like
yeah.
strategically are like, well, I wear that shirt with those pants instead of thinking, well, actually, I could wear that shirt with that skirt and with those leggings and with that. So you can kind of use more of your closet that way.
Yay, I'm doing so good.
You're
Yay.
doing great, Chase. Okay, so we see. I think we have a question from
We do.
Christine.
What is one affirmation you like to tell yourself or instill in your clients to encourage more body positivity / confidence?
Okay, well, I like this. First of all, this is slightly unrelated, but I do affirmations with my kids every morning, and
Oh,
I let them pick what they want to say.
oh.
Um, and so for like months, Jude, every morning, I love decorating, and I'm like, not really the assignment. And like, what kind of decorating do we think he was saying? Do we think he was saying like cookie decorating or like he likes home decor? But anyway, but now they both are so like they every morning they say like I am smart, I am confident, I love myself, and they like say those things. And so it's been something we've been doing for like 2 years, and it's so fun. And I think it helps us all kind of just like set the tone for the day. But in terms
Yeah.
of being in my closet, you know, Christine, by the way, hi Christine. Christine and I ran a 5K together. Well, she ran the 10K
Oh,
and I ran a
hi,
5K.
Christine.
But so I like to start my morning when I'm getting dressed, not thinking about and not thinking about how if something's gonna flatter me. I think about how do I want to feel today. So when I first go in my closet, I say, how do I want to feel today? Do I want to feel sexy? Do I want to feel vibrant? Like what do I want to feel when I get dressed? So asking that question, I think sort of like changes the tone around getting dressed, right? And then you could say, okay, and that question kind of keeps kind of popping up as you get dressed, right? So let's say you get dressed and you're like, you know what? I thought this was gonna do the trick, but let's say for you, like you're like, you know what? I think I could wear a dress today because I want to feel, sexy. And then you're like, I gotta bend over all day. I gotta change. This is not gonna work for what I need to do. So like you allow other things like your lifestyle and other things like that to kind of pop in, but I think that affirmation of just being like, how do I want to feel today? Like, and when it comes to body positivity, I think not focus. I like to think about what I want to enhance, not what I want to hide. So a lot of times when people come to me and they want to
Mm,
get dressed, they say like, okay, so I like to hide my hips or I'm self-conscious of my stomach. And I'm not saying that we don't all have insecurities, but if you're not focusing on that, but you're saying, I love my collarbone, I like to enhance it. Or for, any other body part, really but if you're focusing on the thing that you love about your body instead of the thing that you're trying to hide, think about what that changes as you get dressed.
I like that. Christine, if that answered your question, either comment below with your aha or give us a like so we know. I think
Yeah,
that
let
was
me
a
know.
great way of answering the question. And it's something that where I wanted to kind of move into for the end of it is diving a little bit more into the personal emotional behind all this, because it can be for a lot of people style or she got to love. So you answer your question. It can be really empowering, or it can be extremely debilitating for someone that's going through a lot. And I have found that, you know, I do a lot with people, the deeper work, the emotional work. And even when I have, say, somebody that's getting on my massage table and we're working through emotional knots and things in her tissue, or I'm doing the trauma forgiveness work with a coaching client, is what I realized is that deeper emotional stuff really affects us in many facets of our lives, from our relationships to our career. And I have found it also, there's this connection between physiology and our physical body. And that when I'm noticing people, their bodies are starting to try to protect them from emotional wounding or something going on, and you know they're holding their body in a certain way, the choices they make about what they're going to put on their body are different. And I wondered if you've seen this in ways, because I've seen it in ways with my clients where little things will occur where they're like, you know what, people kept asking me if I got a new haircut, but I haven't gotten my hair cut. And I was like, well, you're holding yourself differently. So your hair actually looks different because you've shifted your physiology, because you've done some of the emotional work. You've cleared the heavy or whatever was going on for you.
Right.
So have you noticed any connection or correlation between this whole emotional or physiological thing that people are doing because of whatever's going on with them internally, to be connected to the choices that they're making with their external, their clothing or their style?
Well, for sure. I think that also there's something about like when you're holding on to all that energy and all that in your, you know, you're not showing up as your most confident self. Like it kind of goes hand in hand, right? Where like if you are feeling really aligned and amazing and on the inside, and then you're like, how can I express this on the outside? Then you walk out the door and you're like, all right, I'm going to go ask for that raise. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, the thing that, you know what I mean? But I think that a lot of times I find a lot of women, they are really into hiding, you know? So like there's a lot of clothes that are too big, or things that like, and things that are sort of clothes that are gonna make them feel, they think more comfortable, right? So there's a lot of like, or also a lot of like, I don't need to try, like I don't have style, like I don't really care, you know. And so that idea, to me, everyone has style because everyone puts on clothes. It's just whether or not you're choosing to show up a certain way, you know. The same way that you like do personal growth and you take care of yourself, and you were to go to yoga, or you were to go to get a massage, any of that stuff, your personal, you're working on yourself. And I think that like showing up in a way that makes you feel good is a part of that too.
Yeah, it all does come together.
Yeah.
The internal and the external actually do work hand in hand,
Yeah.
and we have to work at them cohesively. Like I understand the power when people say it's about the inside out, but there's also something to be said about the outside in. Because if somebody's going through something, like they're going through a massive amount of, say, grief right now, at least they know that they got some great pairs of clothing in their closet that can help them get through the day and still feel okay while they're going through some of this stuff. So we have to look at the outside in as well as the inside out. And it's not either or. I just said this to my client today. It's yes and more. And that we have all these tools from you know what you do, the personal style, to many other things that we can use it as a yes and more, not an either or. And that one thing that we have a strength in can really bolster when we need to go through something else.
Also, you know, just when it comes to like having a closet that's working for you, right? Full of clothes that excite you and full of not clutter. I think sometimes when we're going through a lot, the last thing we want to do is like dig through bins
Yes.
or like find things. Okay, well, I can't wear that. That doesn't fit me. And I actually always talk a lot about how if your closet is filled with clothes that you don't wear, what that does for you mentally is like detrimental, and you don't even realize it, because you're not going into your closet and saying, I can wear all these clothes. You're like, can't wear that. Wish I could wear that. I guess this will do. And that mentality is also not having you show up as your best self,
I like
So,
that.
so I think mentally, if you have a streamlined closet, like it can help you. It's like a part of your morning routine, right? So if you spend time meditating and journaling and like doing some, facial massage, like all this stuff, and you go into your closet and you have a miserable experience, then you leave the house, right? You just like undid so much of the stuff that you just did because you're frustrated with your clothes.
Yeah. It sounds to me what you're saying is it's just something we all have to do. I mean, we don't live in a society where we can walk around naked all the time.
You've been in
That it is,
Florida too long, naked.
yeah. That it's something that is a container that we have to look at. Just like the food that's in our cabinets and in our refrigerator, right? Or just like the clutter that might be on our desk or the organization that's on our desk. There's just certain things that it is the way it is. And we can use it in an empowering way as a tool, or a disempowering way to throw us off track. But what I'm hearing from you, and why I wanted to have this conversation, because you talk about it in a different way, is you almost practice being in your closet as a form of mindfulness.
Totally.
And I talk to people about this a lot. I work with a lot of overwhelmed, stressed out women that
me too.
are extremely empathic, care about people, have big missions and messages, but just don't know how to get it all done and want to level up. And the one thing that I have noticed across the board is it's so easy to get in the trap of this is how it should look like versus what does it look like for you. And that a lot of people I work with, they're like, I can't sit down and meditate in the morning. I'm like, all right, well, when you brush your teeth, can you just brush your teeth? And I say it all the time, is when you get dressed, can you just get dressed? When you do. And so what I'm hearing from you is the work you do, you're actually tricking people into meditating with their clothes.
Well, I think that I like what you said when you're just like, can you just get dressed, right? Can you not make it about your weight? Can you not make it about this? Can you not make it about the fact that that's your boyfriend's sweatshirt in the back, or ex-boyfriend's sweatshirt in the back, right? Like, can you just get dressed, in a way, in an empowering way, not in like a dismissive way. I hope that made sense. But
not dismissive or disassociated from it or disconnected.
Don't put so much weight on what it means besides just having it be an enjoyable experience.
And that's mindfulness.
Yeah.
That's being present.
Right.
If we whittle it down, that's being present. And we can be
present.
present in so many ways of our life, whether we're in the closet choosing something, or we're sitting meditating, or whatever you insert, whatever it is. Life is about the present moment. We don't get this moment back.
And it's also, I think, a way to be authentically yourself, right? If you are taking an extra minute to think like, this feels like me, right? That feeling, that's an empowering feeling. And then that you're feeling represented in the rest of your day. And you're not thinking about your clothes in the rest of the day.
Yeah. And it can be a catalyst for a new level of thinking throughout the entire day.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, this was awesome conversation. And I know people in the recording are going to have more questions and stuff, but I wanted to start to bring it to a close and just ask you if there's I love to go through takeaways and things. If there was one thing, because it can be when people have these major ahas, or they're listening to something and they get breakthroughs, or I like to call it those mini mind explosions, is sometimes it gets just put on their saved files in Facebook, or it's a book that gets put on the bookcase. And there's always that action that needs to be taken for people. Persistent and consistent action is where habit change occurs, whether it's doing the deeper work that I do, or even just being in this level of empowerment with your style, if there was a takeaway that you could give everybody that's here live or listening about what confident style is, or being unapologetically you with your style, what would it be for them? Like a starting point or an overall thing that they can get from our call today. What might that be?
I would say, like, the next time you get dressed, think about the conversation that you're having with yourself. And if that conversation is a positive one, if it's an enhanced one, if it's like, how is that conversation going for you, right? And then, okay, well, what can I do from there? Like, okay, if I'm having this conversation with myself and it's really negative, I didn't even realize it, but it turns out when I get dressed, I'm not kind to myself. Then, at least I think that awareness is really where the change can start. And then you could say, okay, you know what it is? It's because I don't feel aligned with these clothes. Okay, well, maybe you need to clean out your closet. Or maybe it's, I'm having a good conversation with myself when I get dressed, but then I feel I don't have the things I need. Okay, maybe you need to go shop. Whatever it is for you, just ask yourself, okay, how is that conversation going every morning? I think it's a good place to start.
I like that. And I would add to people, because I found it in every level of work I do, is the container you're in will dictate the way you are being in that container, and a messy closet will just, it will, it will create that. So there is something to be said about that whole feng shui. And it's, if you have the space to be more open, then you have the possibility of more open experiences. So I would add to yours, yes, and I like to yes and. Yes, and.
The improv.
Yeah, just adding to that of, look at the containers you have in every area of your life, from your closet to your bedroom to your office to your car to your wallet. Those all make a difference. And when there's a freedom for more spaciousness, there's a freedom for you to be more spacious.
Totally. I love it.
Yes. So I wanted just to have you, I know you had mentioned it before, but kind of recap what that free gift is and how people can get to know you a little bit more. And we'll make sure we put it in the comments as well as the title of the live
cool.
here.
So so you can find me on Instagram at Melanie Kruger, and then everywhere else, it's like my website is theconfidentcloset.com. And then if you're there, you'll be able to find the free gift. But I'll also link that. I believe it's style/theconfidentcloset.com/free, but I'm not 100% sure because it's been a little while. So I'll make sure I get the right link below.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we're gonna keep this conversation going, everybody. So this, we go live, but then a lot of other questions or aha moments occur afterwards. So it's a great opportunity to share it. Those that have listened to it, share it with somebody you know might be interested. We'll continue the conversations. Melanie will link herself, but make sure if it's a specific question for Melanie, you link her to it. So tag her so that she can get the question. If it's a question for me, same thing, tag me. And we'll just, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, also, I am like on Instagram, like daily giving tips and talking about this kind of stuff. So definitely find me there too.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'll comment with your Instagram handle if you can too, for people, just so they can see it visually. That'll be helpful. And we can just keep this conversation going. We went live today, but I'm still getting questions and things from past Unapologetic Woman Hours. And if you have any ideas or thoughts of another topic you want to talk about, please share in that. And for any of you that are watching, if you're not following me on Facebook at Tracy's Total Wellness, I tend to share a lot of tips, techniques. I'm all about the quick resets with people. We're busy women. How can we feel better? How can we feel better quickly and effectively? So make sure to join the community. I started these conversations for many reasons, but number one is creating another container of community where we can have open conversations about this. Our families, our society, our country, the world needs to have more authentic conversation right now, where we're listening and expressing ourselves in an empowered way. So I started to do this for that reason, but I dive even deeper with the work that I do on my Tracy's Total Wellness community. So I'm going to put a link. If you're not part of the community, as I started to call it, it is community medicine. When you feel like you can just be yourself, anything is possible. Whether you're having a crappy day or you're having the biggest aha breakthrough of your life, when you have permission to live your authentic expression, really anything is possible. And the ripple effect that has on the people you care about is more than you know. So I want to thank Melanie for having this awesome conversation. And I'm so proud of myself that I'm doing better than I thought with style.
Thanks for having me, Tracy. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll be back next month. Keep an eye out on my Facebook page, everybody, for our Unapologetic Woman Hour for next month. And let's just keep these conversations of authentic expression going. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Be well. Bye.